Spectre Divide just dropped, and to celebrate, I came up with 27 tips to help you on your first day. These are separated into 4 sections, so feel free to skip around depending on what you want to hear first. Starting with Spectres, my first tip is to not neglect your Spectre. Your Spectre is more than just a second life that you leave AFK and spawn. If you want to win games, you need to be active using both bodies to get info and make plays. And you can't do that if you leave your second body and spawn every round. Stop running around the map during prep phase and manually tossing your puck to place your Spectres. You can do this way easier and quicker by left and right clicking on the map that you can access by clicking M on your keyboard. Place your Spectre with intention. We just went over remembering that your Spectre exists and how to place them. Now it's time to treat them with respect. Whenever you place your Spectre, make sure you do it with a reason in mind and make sure that they're not out in the open where they can get taken out. I'm guilty of doing this with myself a couple times, so I know you'll do it too. Whenever you toss your puck, you can cue your body swap while your Spectre is still traveling if you press the swap key. Pressing it again will cancel it, and then you'll stay in your main body while your Spectre continues to travel. You can use your Spectre as a proximity alarm. If you've ever played Valorant, then you'll know of the audio ring that is present to let you know how far you can hear enemies. That same feature is implemented here, and your inactive Spectre will show that ring to let you know how far you can hear sounds. And on the topic of proximity alarms, your Spectre will give you 2 types of Spectre notifications. The first one is Spectre warning, which means you heard something near you, but it's not too close. The second is Spectre danger, and this means they are super close to you and you should probably swap before they take you out. Now, we need to talk about the things that trigger a Spectre warning. The only things that trigger a Spectre warning are players or clones that are running, jumping, or falling. Gunshots, doors, damage received, pucks and recalls, and abilities even allow ones like nades and flashes will not trigger Spectre warnings or dangers. Remember that there's no aim penalty for moving while shooting if you're aiming down sights, unless you're using sniper. At that point, then you'll have to be standing still. However, if you're hip firing, then you will have to counter strafe to be accurate, just like in Valorant or CS. Learn and get used to hip firing. This is an ADS focused game, but that doesn't mean hip fire is obsolete. In fact, it can be just as strong in the close to medium ranges and is the better option in certain situations like swinging close angles. Make sure to use the zoom feature regularly, as it can help make those longer range shots a little bit easier to hit. I personally always have my weapons zoomed no matter what, because if I need to, I'll just hip fire. And make sure to stay away from spraying. The recoil is harsh with some guns, so stick to bursts and taps until you dial in that recoil. Now let's talk about one of the most confusing things about the game, team inventory. The team inventory is how you can drop weapons to your teammates. The only thing in this game that you can drop is the bomb, unless you use the team inventory. Weapons go into the team inventory whenever you buy another weapon set, and you have one currently. And if you want to get these weapons out of the weapon inventory, then you just have to select the orange pair and you'll get it completely for free. And on the topic of dropping weapons, you can also just flat out buy your teammates their weapon pair if you need to. Right next to the team inventory is our loadout, and if somebody requests, it'll show up there 2 price tags. You could either click the highest or the lowest, or both if you have the money, but most likely you're only gonna be buying 1/2 of it, and then they'll have to buy the other half. So whenever you request or somebody requests, make sure if they're not buying both pairs that you buy the other half or that they buy the other half. This will only be a problem for so long until everybody gets used to the game, but for right now, make sure you let them know to buy the other half. These doors are destructible. The wood can be shot out fairly easily with any weapon, allowing you to get wallbang kills, toss nades through if you shoot out the very top part, and to see through without needing to open the door and get blown away by a shotty. They can also be fully destroyed by explosives, so if you know somebody's there and you want to get the drop on them, you can toss a nade at the door and be ready with your gun to gun them down. You can also shoot through a lot of walls and materials in this game, especially on the corners. One important one to know will be these blue boxes on Skyway. Make sure to spam these, as people like to hide behind them a lot, especially on B site. These walls will reveal you if you walk through them, but once they drop, you're fine to walk past. You can tell when they're about to drop by looking underneath your map or by the number on the bottom of the wall. It'll also show on the top of your screen and play a distinctive sound whenever they go down to let both sides know, hey, you can push through now. There are a lot of areas on all the maps that can only be accessed with duality. And if the Zeus is dropped in one of these areas, it will be reset to the attacker spawn, and an announcement will play to both sides to let them know, so that defenders aren't holding something that's no longer there, and that attackers have another chance at the round. This door is always open at the start of every round, so if you see it closed, then somebody is likely holding it, and probably with the shotgun. So be careful with trying to push that area. Opening doors will always make a sound, so don't peek until you hear it, and be ready for some resistance whenever you open one. These are fast recall zones, and they'll speed up your Spectre recall, so be sure to use them whenever they're available. You can access them through specific maps like Skyway and through the sponsor Move Robotics. Almost every ability in the game is made with duality in mind. Take for instance Riker. Their scan pulses towards whatever body is active at the moment, allowing you to scan massive areas and get tons of info, and even more if all 3 are allowed to go off. If you or your teammate are playing as Moo, then don't worry about turning away from flashes. They cannot flash teammates. However, when you do flash an enemy with Moo, try to swing further away from them, as it's much harder for them to fight back than if you were right on top of them. Because Moo's flashes aren't like regular flashes. It's more like an LSD effect. If you see one of these smokes land near you or in an obscure position, make sure to check it, as it's possible for the player that threw it to be inside of it. This is Morgan's smoke shift ability, which allows them to tuck a puck within their smoke, albeit with the limited throwing range. If you see either of these walls, try not to walk through them unless you absolutely need to, as they will severely affect your ability to see, most likely making you lose that gunfight. The same can be said about this as well. Walk into this will distort your vision while in it and will get more intense the closer you are to the center. However, you can still see as long as you don't stand in it, so if you're directly behind it or in front of it, it's not going to blind you. The Ghost Link clone has 3 modes: walk, run, and crab walk. Walk is accessed by holding shift and activating the ability. Crab walk is by holding crouch and activating it, and run is just by activating it without holding any other buttons. If you're playing Vector Dynamics and you activate your stem, then you'll place a marker which can instantly TP your Spectre without a trail, and will work even if you die on the main body you activated it on before TPing. Just know it does have a limited time and it will reset on kill. And last but not least, these mines can be shot to detonate them early without an enemy needing to walk into it, which could be helpful when needing to stall for time to end up winning rounds. And with that, that's the end of the video. If you enjoyed, please consider subscribing, leaving a like, leaving a comment, all those great things, and definitely share the video with a friend that is also new to the game so they can learn what you just learned and y'all can both get ahead at the same time. Other than that, have a great day and have a great time on the game.